and Nicole Brannon. And we're underway from Colonial Life Arena. The Gamecocks win the tip. Tessa Johnson pulls up. Stay with South Carolina. Johnson getting the start. Freshman guard from Albertville, Minnesota. And she's starting alongside Pow Pow, Hall, Kitts, and Sakima Walker getting the start in the middle for South Carolina. Hall for three. That's good.
And who would have thought it? You see South Carolina coming out off the rails, knocking down a three right away because of their pressure and their abilities in the paint area. Everybody's going to be prepared for that. And they're showing their ability to also spread the floor from three.
Rumpf, Gabby Johnson, Payne, Joelle Johnson, and Ponder getting the start tonight for Morgan State. That shot off the mark from Ponder. Here come the Gamecocks. Pow Pow finds Hall. Walker kicks it out. Hall, another three. Offensive rebound for Chloe Kitts. She's tied up. It'll be Morgan State basketball.
Yeah, Bree Hall there testing the heat check early.
Well, Hall shot it well on the road trip. 15 points at UNC, 13 at Duke. She was a combined 9 for 13 and 6 for 8 from three.
Well, she's part of the combo that has helped this South Carolina team balance themselves offensively, not only just on the inside, but also the out.
Johnson for three.
And Johnson, one of those players that can do a little bit of everything. She can shoot the three, she can put the ball on the deck, get mid-range, also can start the break for the Gamecocks. She's going to be a really good freshman for them.
Now 3 for 7 on the season from behind the arc. Came back for the UNC and Duke trip. Played but didn't score on the score sheet early tonight. This is Payne, under 5. She pulls up. Another rebound for Chloe Kitts. That's her third.
I like how Chloe Kitts is getting it and not just looking for point guards and guards to dribble the ball up, but showing her ability to push it in pace too.
Another tie-up. This time it'll stay with South Carolina. Chloe coming off of that career-high 14-point performance Sunday at Duke. She added 9 rebounds and 11 points at UNC. Tessa Johnson, too strong. Hits her 4th board. Tied up once again. This time possession arrow in favor of Morgan State.
Yeah, Chloe Kitts going ahead and establishing herself early, being dominant on the boards. One of the things that South Carolina does is they out-rebound their opponents, meaning they get more chances to score the ball and to keep the ball away from the opposing team.
And they have such a height advantage. Kitts at 6'2", Walker getting the start at 6'5". Haven't even seen Cardoso yet. And that shot is good. Morgan State is on the board. Joelle Johnson, a grad student from Louisville, Kentucky.
Yeah, Joelle Johnson showing her ability to not only establish herself in the post, but also somebody who can knock down the open three.
Johnson pulls up and hits.
You see what we talked about with Johnson, her ability to not only knock down the three, she can make it in rhythm, but then also when you come out with the bad closeout, she can attack the high foot and get to the mid-range jumper.
5 points for Tessa Johnson. This is Ponder. Oh, she responds for Morgan State.
And we talked about the size advantage that South Carolina has over Morgan State, but Morgan State has post players that are also capable of spreading the floor from three.
Ponder, the tallest player on the floor for Morgan State, at 6 foot tall. Pow Pow off the glass and in. And Pow Pow will draw the foul.
Yeah, Pow Pow all over the place. I've never seen anybody just mosey to the basket for a layup, but you see there Tessa Johnson getting to that mid-range jumper. And now you see here, inside-out play from Morgan State where they're able to penetrate, pitch, draw the bigs in to protect the basket and knock down the three.
Both teams have hit a pair of threes. Pow Pow hits the first. Such a consistent scorer for South Carolina. Tina Pow Pow has scored between 10 and 14 points in each game this season. She's outstanding from behind the arc.
Yeah, she's just steady for the Gamecocks, and she always looks calm, cool, and collected, stoic, but also can knock down the open three, which has been needed. She shoots the highest three-point percentage for the Gamecocks.
Rumpf can't convert. Gamecocks in a hurry. Pow Pow for three. Got it!
And it leaves her hand so effortlessly, like she has practiced that shot over and over again and recognized when it was time to take and make it.
7 straight points for Pow.
And when you have that as a premium, you usually play to higher percentages because of that.
6 points have come on 2 made threes so far for Morgan State. This is Rumpf. Gets around Walker. Ponder. Shot no good, but offensive rebound for Morgan State. 2 seconds on the shot clock. What's the call here? Looks like it's going to go against the Lady Bears. Foul will be on J.L. Butler. She picks up her first.
It may have been some kind of moving screen situation there. And understanding that in order to get your teammate open, you got to set hard screens. That time she just moved a little bit.
Pow Pow pulls up for three. Pow Pow, her first miss of the game. She leads all scorers with 7 points. Rumpf, the freshman from Sacramento, California. It's help from Ponder. Maybe a turnover for the Lady Bears. Both teams do well in the turnover margin this season. Morgan State's plus 4.4, South Carolina plus 3.9. For Morgan State, John, it's just a matter of whether they can capitalize on the turnovers. I know that's a concern tonight for head coach Ed Davis Jr.
Yeah, you want to be consistent with the turnovers and creating them, but you also want to make sure that you are making shots that are contributed from those turnovers. And I think that is something that Coach Davis had talked about as far as they're getting the turnovers and creating the chaos, but there's nothing coming to fruition on the other end of the floor.
Raven Johnson pulls up and hits.
We literally saw Raven Johnson practice that shot over and over again. One of the new highlights that has been added to this already special South Carolina program. Players that can spread the floor from the three, but also all 3 levels. You see there, Raven Johnson knocking down the mid-range jumper.
Featuring their guards so far tonight. All points for South Carolina coming from the guard position. Fourth turnover for the Lady Bears.
And you see here, Raven Johnson coming off of the DHO, recognizing that the defender was lagged on her, pulls up for the jumper.
Johnson, an 11-point Sunday at Duke. She's a 3 for 4 from behind the arc. Converting from in close, that's Cardoso.
It's just really difficult to stop Cardoso, especially when she establishes herself early in the paint area. All she has to do then is drop step. Even that point, the defender pushed her under the basket, but she's developed enough to have the size and strength to still get to her spots.
Another turnover for Morgan State. South Carolina is on an 11-0 run. They've opened up a 19-6 lead here in the first. Emily Jones has checked in for Morgan State. Mari Smith as well. Johnson gets it inside to Cardoso.
Yeah, and that's one of the premiums of having the size that South Carolina has. You have players, post players that can get down the floor very quickly, establish themselves early in the paint, see if they can get themselves an early duck in. And all you have to do then is just drop step and finish.
Gamecock basketball with a 21-6 lead. Cardoso averaging a double-double this season, 15 points, 12.1 boards. She has 5 double-doubles, including 15 points and 14 rebounds at Duke on Sunday. Ashlyn Watkins will check in for South Carolina. Sophomore forward from right here in Columbia, averaging 9.4 points per game. She's second in the SEC in blocks, only behind her teammate Cardoso. Full Wiley, too strong. Full Wiley has been so impressive so far this season, averaging 12 points per game. For Dawn Staley, head coach for South Carolina, in her 16th season. 12 straight 20-win seasons for Coach Staley, a couple of national championships in 2017 and 2022. 5 Final Fours in the last 8 years. She's built a dynamite program here in Columbia. Nice touch from Joelle Johnson. She's got 5.
Yeah, Joelle Johnson has definitely tried to implement herself in attacking the post players of South Carolina, and they're going to need more of that from her for Morgan State to stay in this game.
A response from Watkins.
Watkins is so athletic, so dynamic. Not only can she hunt for duck-ins and angles to get drop steps, but she can also put the ball on the deck and get to her one-dribble finishes.
In and out on the 3, and the rebound for Cardoso. Raven Johnson drops it off to Full Wiley, who feeds Watkins.
Watkins is over there smiling at Full Wiley as if, I did not know you were going to do that. And it's always funny when you watch players completely surprised and have to laugh at the fact that you got them that dime.
Such an unselfish team. Seeing the effects of them really liking each other. They share the basketball. Outstanding passers, players like Raven Johnson. Full Wiley, here's a steal from Watkins. She's up ahead. Going for the dunk, John, just couldn't convert.
Yeah, she didn't have enough speed under her for that. Usually she gets a fast break with a little bit more force, maybe a second dribble. But you see there, she makes up for it on the defensive end, doing what she does best by rejecting the shots.
She blocked Butler. Full Wiley. Shot no good. It'll be Morgan State basketball. The head coach for the Lady Bears is Ed Davis Jr. He's in his 8th season, over 100 wins at the helm from Morgan State. He was previously an assistant at Morgan State. And before that, 12 seasons as the head coach at Delaware State, so he's very familiar with the MEAC conference.
Absolutely, and he was the winningest coach at Delaware State and still holds that record. Just his ability to have a formula and stick with it.
And Johnson turns defense into offense. It's a 27-8 lead for South Carolina.
Yeah, and it's all starting on the defensive end right now. South Carolina is turning Morgan State over and making it really difficult for them to get in any type of offensive continuity.
7 turnovers already for Morgan State. Raven Johnson with that steal. She averages 3.1 per game. Once again, it's the Gamecocks the other way. Johnson. Bree Hall. 3 seconds to get it into Cardoso, who splits 2 Lady Bears and score through 1 quarter.
Well, one thing that South Carolina prides themselves on is their defensive 3 pillars. Protect the rim, pressure the ball, and make proper rotations. When they protect the rim, it's really hard for you to score. Easy baskets, high percentage baskets. When they pressure the ball, it's hard for you to get continuity offensively. And then when you rotate the ball, even when you get past the first level, there's always somebody there. So instead of it playing against 5 players, you're playing against 6.
Full Wiley skips her way inside and draws contact. It's been 6 different scorers already for South Carolina. Full Wiley looking to get on the board here. 71% free throw shooter on the season. And this is the first. Wiley had 9 points on Sunday at Duke. She only played 3 minutes at UNC. She started the season with 5 straight double-digit scoring games. Just no room inside for Rumpf, who is listed, John, at 5'2".
Yeah, I don't know about all that. But hey, she's got the heart of a 5'7" kid. I'm gonna tell you that right now. The way she plays, she's fearless out there, and that's why she was our player to watch.
Unfortunately, she had to go up against 6'3" Watkins. Turnover for the Gamecocks. This is Joelle Johnson the other way from Morgan State.
And we had that conversation with Coach Don Staley about Raven Johnson scoring the ball more. Right now, sometimes I think she looks to facilitate first, and that's great out of a point guard, but you also prove me wrong.
It proves you wrong with the 3 ball. 7 points for Raven Johnson. Shooting 42% from behind the arc this season. Timeout, Morgan State, and that brings us to a break here on the floor. 9 minutes left to go in the second. South Carolina leads Morgan State 33-8. Great balance, sharing the basketball this season, averaging 21.7 assists per game. This lockdown defense has given Morgan State all sorts of trouble. They get a piece of that shot attempt from Gabby Johnson. For Wiley, a tough shot. She'll draw contact. Foul's going to be called on Kaya Ponder. She picks up her second.
And that is what makes Full Wiley so difficult to guard. I mean, she is just so shifty, understands change of pace, which makes it almost impossible for one-on-one defenders to stay in front of her. And she noticed there she had an isolation, took full advantage of it, got herself 2 free ones.
Coach Staley called her a generational talent. She's just so special the way she approaches both sides of the basketball. She wants to be better. She's a 3-level scorer. She's unselfish. And game days seem to bring out the best in her. She has a great feel for the game, great intuition for the game.
And she has a ton of similarities to John Wall to me. As far as somebody who can, when they get out in the open floor, it's just a blur, and then just has the creativity to pick it up on the drop of a hat.
It's a pretty good comparison with a highlight reel player.
Oh, yeah.
This is Alston. Cardoso, the rebound. She's trying to feed Watkins, who thought she was tripped up. Had something to say to one of our officials. Passing on the open look. Instead, it's Gibbs who pulls up baseline.
And Gibbs hits a tough 2. And we talked about that is what South Carolina does. They put you in conflict and make you have to take and make tough 2s on a consistent basis. You see this open floor situation. Yeah, Watkins is definitely just as athletic and as coordinated as she is. She just doesn't fall for no reason.
Ashlyn Watkins has 2 double-doubles this season, one of them against Maryland, one of them against Clemson. Season high in points is 14 against Mississippi Valley State. She's someone who averages just 4.9 points and 3.1 boards as a freshman last season, so the number's way up for Watkins. More than doubling both categories so far this season for Coach Staley.
Well, I think she's understanding Don Staley's system, especially from that post position. You are going to be highly successful if you are in shape and can run the floor, get down the floor before the defense gets set, establish yourself by being physical, get yourself the angle that you need, and all you have to do, you don't have to do too much, is drop, step, and finish.
The foul's going to be called on Morgan State and Joelle Johnson, who picks up her second. Just a wealth of talent at that forward position for South Carolina when you think players like Watkins and Fagan come off the bench. And that can be a starting duo for Final Four contender, no doubt. Hall from the wing.
Bree Hall spent a ton of time in the gym this summer but also not only for herself, but I think to prove other people wrong. I think that a lot of folks did not think that South Carolina was going to be at the level that they are at right now at #1 in the nation. They were, you know, projected to be 6, but Bree Hall has been the spark plug for this team in that, just showing her ability to not only run the floor, but shoot the 3.
Full Wiley again will go to the line. Bree Hall, a pair of 3-pointers tonight for South Carolina. Had a great game on the road against UNC. Coach Staley said she played like an experienced guard who's been to 2 Final Fours. She's been working. She's wanted a performance like this on both sides of the ball. Coach Staley was just hoping she could bottle it up and play that way throughout the rest of the season. She's been great tonight so far. Gets a rest here. For Wiley misses the first.
Just thinking about Bree Hall, she is the epitome of a culture kid. She waited her time, you know, played limited minutes, but were under great players before her that taught her the ropes, the way, and now she is in a situation where she is in that leadership role and is going to teach the next wave of players that can also bring forth good energy, good effort on the floor moving forward.
(39-10) is our score here in the second quarter. Gabby Johnson, the leading scorer on the season for Morgan State, looking to make something happen. Under 10, Ja all over her. Joelle Johnson, great defense from Chloe Kitts. That's Tessa Johnson with the rebound. Pow Pow delivers to Kitts.
Yeah, I honestly don't think Kitts thought that she was going to be that open and that uncontested for that.
Gabby Johnson, high off the glass, no good. Another rebound for Chloe Kitts. It's taken away by Morgan State. Chloe now has 7 rebounds for South Carolina.
And that's what makes Morgan State so dangerous as well. Like when you get the rebound and you think you have the fast break, they're jamming you.
Ja is able to get to the basket. The freshman forward from Alexandria, Virginia. Didn't play at Duke and just 1 minute at UNC. Getting some time here in the first half against Morgan State. 8 different scorers now for South Carolina.
I do like Ja's game. She's very aggressive. She's a downhill guard. She rebounds well and defends hard.
Shot no good for Gabby Johnson. Fagan trying to get it to Kitts. It's a turnover for South Carolina. 6 turnover for the Gamecocks.
See there, Ja just recognizing on the ghost screen that she had the opening and took advantage of that space.
Ja, another great get for Coach Staley, the number 40 player in the class of 2023.
You get it, her talent is just oozing.
Joelle Johnson makes her move. Fagan stays with her. The follow away, no good. Pow Pow comes up with it for the Gamecocks. Up ahead, finds Fagan.
It's an easy formula. You got post players that are in shape and can run the floor. Doesn't matter how fast the team is. If you can do that on a consistent clip, it's been known for South Carolina's team to wear you down as the quarters progress. And so far, they are on a constant run. It's like a track meet for the Gamecocks.
10 assists on 16 field goals so far for the Gamecocks. 10 seconds for Rumpf. A whistle and a foul. It's going to go against South Carolina.
See here. Pow Pow with her head up, just recognizing Fagan is in no man's land on an island there for an easy finish.
Ja picks up her first foul. It's actually the first foul on South Carolina tonight. And Clean basketball. Fagan in the post. Turns, fires, and hits.
And Fagan brings a different type of aspect to South Carolina's roster from the post position. She played wing when she was in high school, so has the ability to step out and knock down that short corner jumper as well as elbow.
Really talented player, junior forward from Ellenwood, Georgia. Joelle Johnson, a deep three. Short. Fagan with the rebound. Here's Pow Pow. She'll push it up to Ja. Some contact. An offensive foul called on Sanaya Ja. She picks up her second. Another look, John, at the foul on Ja.
Yeah, it seemed like a charge. Like as far as the defender was there and steady, I was wondering if her foot was on that arc area, but it doesn't seem like it was based on the replay.
Fagan rejects Payne. This is a South Carolina team that leads the nation in blocks per game, averaging over 10. Unable to bank it in, rolls around the rim and doesn't go down. Morgan State now has 2 field goals in their last 13 minutes and 45 seconds. Just not going in for the Lady Bears, John.
Yeah, that was as unlucky as you could get for Sadeja Payne there. Definitely had herself a situation, and she's actually really good at the mid-range jumper. And they haven't seen much daylight at the basket, and even there, that was a tough 2. But I've seen her make that from time to time.
Payne started the first 3 games this season, off the bench the last 5, got the start tonight. And a turnover here, an opportunity for Morgan State. And a foul called on South Carolina. Keila Johnson was ready to convert on the break.
Yes, and what was impressive was how quick South Carolina was able to get back into fray on a normally an easy bang-bang fast break situation.
Foul's called on Raven Johnson. She picks up her first. Just the 3rd foul on the Gamecocks. A whistle. Is the shot clock off here, John?
I have no clue exactly what the call was for. I was looking for like off-ball movement, maybe some physicality there, but you could be right on the clock.
It was off by 10 seconds. Said 26. They set it to 16. And we'll stay with Morgan State. It's a Morgan State team that averages 58 points per game, doesn't shoot it that well, 35% overall and just 23% from behind the arc. They only have 1 player averaging double digits so far this season. That's Gabby Johnson, just over 10. Rumpf gets inside. Pretty basket from Tamarie Rumpf, the freshman from Sacramento.
Yeah, it's a beautiful finish for her. Just getting to the lane, understanding that she had to get to that hop step in order to get the space she needed.
Another look at the basket from Rumpf.
Yeah, you see her. I mean, she's fighting against a storm of trees there. Finds a way still to get to open space on the floor to get a layup. And obviously, open space isn't the same for her as it is for most because of her size.
She's very quick. Having trouble finding room to operate tonight. .45-12 lead for the Gamecocks. Pow for three. The rebound is ripped away by Morgan State. That's Payne.
Yeah, the last 3 possessions, Payne has been active, whether trying to put some pressure in the paint area on drives or just trying to get rebounds and start the break for Morgan State.
Tessa Johnson was hot early for the Gamecocks. She'll drive, pulls up, and hits.
And you see why she is going to be such a special player for South Carolina. Teams that are really good at guarding the 3 as well as protecting the paint. There is an area of advantage in the mid-range that she presents and can provide for the Gamecocks.
She's the Minnesota Gatorade Player of the Year in 2023, averaging 24 points per game as a senior. Another turnover here for the Lady Bears. Johnson, another McDonald's All-American for Coach Staley. A 2,000-point scorer. Pow had to be alert. An open look for Fagan. Cardoso gives the Gamecocks a second opportunity. Only for a moment. It's Morgan State basketball.
Yeah, and one thing is if you do get a second chance or offensive rebound, if you're South Carolina, Morgan State, even though they're small, they swarm like bees.
The 11th turnover for Morgan State. Check that 12. Ten seconds for Raven Johnson. Finds Cardoso. She draws contact. And Camila Cardoso will head to the line. Foul's called on Amari Smith, her first.
Now, I know that there wasn't an actual make in this situation. I was more impressed with the offensive system that South Carolina executed, really spreading out this Morgan State defense that was trying to protect the paint. They moved the ball from one side of the floor to the other without any resistance. Even though there was a little bit of pressure on them, they seemed unfazed by it. And maybe that Tobacco Road tour that they took was able to help them deal with that a little bit. Having those types of experiences are going to help the Gamecocks moving forward in situations where a lot of teams may have turned the ball over.
8 points now for Cardoso. Coach Davis knew she'd be a challenge. You asked him about combating Cardoso, and he said, you know, there are a couple on the roster that played her when she was at Syracuse, but she's gotten so much better at South Carolina. And it's tough. It's a double-edged sword because you have to close out on the shooter if they pack it in. There's so many variables. Their game plan is going to be to contain Cardoso as much as they can. Don't let her go crazy in the post without any support. But it's really a double-edged sword the way South Carolina is shooting this season.
Well, it's not the same as last year where it didn't matter. Obviously, you got an Aaliyah Boston. You can toss it down there, and she'll score on 5 players, and there's nothing you can do. This, you see more balance offensively with South Carolina where they can get the ball into the paint. Cardoso can finish, can create, but also they can show their ability to finish from the perimeter.
How about that pass from Raven Johnson to Pow? That'll close out the half. South Carolina will go into halftime, John, with a 51.
Within their rhythm of play, and so it has led to high percentages that you've just run off.
Morgan State will start with the basketball here in the second half. Joelle Johnson leading the way for the Lady Bears with 5 points so far tonight. Ponder looking for help. Instead, she'll fire over Cardoso. Shot no good. And the rebound once again for Chloe Kitts, her 8th.
Yeah, one thing we talked about Morgan State has to do is they have to find a way to put in more or better, higher percentage shots offensively. and them taking contested jumpers against South Carolina is only going to lead to a recipe for disaster.
There's a nice defensive play on the other end from Joel Johnson. Denied Cardoso on the interior. 51-12 is our score here at the start of the third quarter. Hall, the floater, no good. And the rebound for Gabby Johnson. She'll look to push. It's 2 on 3, so she pulls it back. Ponder in the post. Joel Johnson shot off the mark, and the rebound for Raven Johnson. Johnson from the wing.
And that's just a good rhythm play. So much attention being put on the paint area that Raven Johnson, once she spread the floor, shared the ball, it came right back to her, and there was no defender in front of her.
She was the SEC Co-Player of the Week back on November 21st. That was after a 17-assist game. She's scoring tonight, 10 points to go along with 2 assists. Rumpf. Offensive rebound for Payne. Working in the paint around Cardoso, but the height of Cardoso really bothered Sadeja Payne.
Yeah, that's one thing about Payne, and she is fearless. She did not mind going up against Cardoso.
Bree Hall delivers from the corner.
And we talked about it. At this point, South Carolina is in such a rhythm. Like even in the fast break situations and Morgan State not getting back to contest, they are putting themselves in those situations to get high percentage threes.
It's a nice move from Payne, unable to convert. They get it inside to Cardoso. Kicks it to Pow Pow. All thought about it, instead she'll drive. Pow Pow for 3, got it!
Yeah, that's just terrifying. Terrifying basketball. Simply because the ball is moving. It's got life to it. It's going from one side of the floor to the other. Defense is shifting, making them pay consistently.
Timeout Morgan State, 6:50 left to go in the third quarter. South Carolina leads Morgan State 60-12. 10th in the nation. What a get for Coach Staley, and her former head coach at Oregon, Kelly Graves, had this to say about her. He said, Tahina's skill set is incredible. She reminds me of Sabrina Ionescu and her ability to affect the game in so many ways. A strong rebounder, an uncanny passer, an elite three-point shooter, an unselfish teammate. And she plays the game with a huge smile, just a baller to the max, John, with a really high basketball IQ.
Well, one thing I've recognized right away is her ability to play with poise. She is unfazed by pressure and does a really good job of just facilitating when she needs to be at that point guard position.
The Gamecocks were unfazed by that pressure. Chloe Kitts draws the foul on Joelle Johnson. Johnson picks up her 3rd.
One thing we just saw from Morgan State is they threw a little press there, even off of the missed shot. It doesn't matter. They're going to try to apply pressure because normally they press off of made shots. But here, they have not been able to put the ball in the basket and have to find some way to get some type of offensive circulation, and by that being turnovers. And so they tried to put South Carolina on the tip of their toes, but they're too good, such a good team. It's just difficult to do that.
Coach Davis talked to us about the matchup, and he said, listen, I'm a coach that looks at matchups, looks at scoring margins. The biggest thing I look at is what each athlete in the starting 5 of the opposing team brings, and South Carolina brings so much. He said, I haven't seen anyone in the country that can slow them down. Duke did a little bit, but Duke scored. If you're not going to score with South Carolina, you're going to have a problem. We've run into a problem tonight. That shot no good from Butler. And a whistle that will go against J.L. Butler.
Speaking of that Duke game, I mean, Duke really came out hot, showing their ability to knock down the 3 on a consistent clip. They got out in the open floor and ran, and it started with defense. And so they tried to speed South Carolina up offensively, and offensively South Carolina did fine in that first quarter. but whenever they could capitalize on an open floor situation, they got the open shots and made them.
Well, Kitts capitalizes inside. It's a 64-12 lead for the Gamecocks.
Yeah, Chloe Kitts is such a smart, cerebral player. Does really well at moving without the ball, but then also whenever the defense rests, she can capitalize on it based on her positioning.
She's 4 points and a career high 12 rebounds. There's a rebound for Cardoso. Oh, and Rumpf picks the pocket of Pow Pow. An easy basket for Rumpf.
Yeah, we talked about Rumpf being a defensive specialist. She got 4 steals in her last game against St. Francis, which I think she's going to be one of those players that can put a lot of pressure on the primary ball handler and the MEAC, make life terrible for him.
Almost a steal for Raven Johnson. Instead, it's Rumpf. Gets into the paint. Gets it to Gabby Johnson. Pondo against Kitts. Another rebound for Chloe Kitts. She has 13.
Raven Johnson slowing them down. Get to the sets, run the offense, and see if you can get something high percentage.
Johnson from the elbow.
Clockwork, baby.
12 points for Raven Johnson over her season average of 10.7. Career high was 18. That was against South Dakota State earlier this season. Crowd getting behind the defense of South Carolina here. Rumpf weaves her way into the paint. Feeds Ponder.
I think Ponder hurt herself on that landing.
Kitts converts on the other end. Yeah, Ponder is gonna go down for a moment. We're gonna have a timeout here on the floor. 3:36 left to go in the third. South Carolina all over Morgan State, 68-16. Here all the way through this season for Morgan State. She's their leading scorer tonight, tied with Joelle Johnson with 5 points, but we'll see how she recovers from this injury, John. She got hurt before the break.
Yeah, she's been a bright spot for the Bears. I mean, just strong. She's post-capable is what I like to put it. Somebody who is capable of playing the post, but naturally is a wing. And you see that with her ability to put the ball on the deck. Against Washington at Ventus, she had 18 points and 10 rebounds. If she can start to reciprocate that on a consistent clip, she could be a problem in the MEAC.
Speaking of problems, it's Full Wiley. She's fouled. Foul will be called on Rumpf. Her first. Top speed for Full Wiley. Went flying. So Full Wiley to the line. She's 4 for 6 from the charity stripe tonight.
Yeah, the crowd went kind of crazy when she got fouled and hit the deck a little bit hard there, but I mean, I've been watching Full Wiley play since her high school days, and she is built for it tough. I mean, she has been hacked every which way and has gotten up unscathed.
She has 6 points tonight, all from the line. 70 now for South Carolina. Smith. Hands off to Johnson. She'll draw a whistle. It's going to be called on Mylasia Full Wiley. She picks up her first.
We talked about Dawn Staley and making sure that she is up to par on the defensive end of the floor. We talked about her limited minutes against UNC, but was able to respond the right way against Duke. Right there, you know, her ability to stunt, you could see it was a little bit lazy. And so one thing that Coach Dawn Staley wants is a standard of defensive excellence, especially from the guard position. And when she was in high school, she didn't have to do that. She was just the primary focus where you wanted to keep her fresh on the floor at all times so that offensively she could give you what's needed and necessary to put the ball in the basket or facilitate for herself as well as her teammates.
Golden State was unable to capitalize off the turnover. Here is Fulwiley. Spin move, scoop shot. No good. Loose ball. Golden State comes up with it, but only for a moment. There's a steal from Raven Johnson. Finds Watkins in the paint. Can't get the bounce. Gets it on the follow-up.
You think Watkins is stat buffing over here?
Watkins, such a presence inside.
Uh-oh.
There she is on the steal. Ashlyn Watkins up ahead. Here it comes. That one, John, closer than the first attempt.
I could say so. I mean, like I said, we know that she's capable of putting the ball in the basket and dunking that thing. She's almost too relaxed on her gather. I know that the girl can get off the earth.
Became the first Gamecock to dunk a basketball last season. That was at Clemson.
Sometimes you got weight room legs, man. Like we talked to their strength and conditioning coach before the game started. They are in the weight room every time they have openings to do so. And so legs might be burnt out, man.
Here's Rumpf at the line. That's the first.
You can have those Tobacco Road legs, man.
She's Gatorade Player of the Year in South Carolina in 2022 as Ashlyn Watkins, number 12 player in the class of 2022. Still only a sophomore. So much young talent on this Gamecocks roster, and there's one of the young stars for South Carolina in Fulwiley.
We talked about Fulwiley's creative abilities.
This is Gibbs, runs out of room, so it's Smith. And open up ahead, it's Fulwiley.
Beautiful finish from Malaysia Fulwiley. Didn't do anything fancy, just looked like she slapped boards on her. That's like a dunk.
Fulwiley has 10.
See Fulwiley in the open floor on X Games mode. And then you see here another open floor situation where she just finishes strong. This is where she thrives. When she is out in the fast break, to be able to do what she's capable of doing at the speed that she's capable of reaching is uncanny.
3,000-point scorer in high school. This is the second rebound for Raven Johnson. No let up in the Gamecocks. Up ahead, Cardoso.
Yeah, we talked about South Carolina's bigs and their ability to run the floor. Just makes life easy for players like Raven Johnson, who is looking ahead, plays with her head up, and sees the open man.
20 assists now for the Gamecocks. Rumpf. It's the tough shot.
We talked about Rumpf when she gets to the middle of the floor. Good things happen, and so she's got to be more consistent at that for the Lady Bears.
Johnson will pull it back and set up the offense. Watkins turns, fires, and hits.
And that all started with Raven Johnson recognizing that there wasn't going to be a fast break opportunity there. So what she did was reestablish the offense, got South Carolina set for a high percentage shot.
It's the end of the third quarter from Columbia. South Carolina leads Morgan State 80.
Averaging 10 points, 2 assists, 2 steals, and is still well done, but she needs to do more in order for Morgan State to have a chance. She's like the Swiss Army knife for this team. She can defend, she can shoot the ball, she can get in the open floor and attack in the one-on-ones. She needs to do more of that.
Let's bring it up now for the Lady Bears. A local player out of Baltimore, playing for our hometown school. That shot is true for Benicia Gibbs. Four points for Gibbs.
Beautiful. Beautiful. We talked about it. She thrives in chaos. Like whenever she's in the paint, in the jungle, with the Lions, Tigers, and Bears, she knows how to respond.
12 points now for Full Wiley. Rouse the crowd once again. Under 10 for Alston. Joelle Johnson against Kitts. More great defense from Chloe Kitts. Just gave no space to Joelle Johnson. The fourth quarter numbers for South Carolina have been outstanding all season long, John.
Yeah, they find a way to get it going second and fourth, where they start to find themselves a rhythm. We saw them play against North Carolina and Duke. They were really able to turn it on at the end. And we talked about it's not that they turn it on, it's just they stay consistent offensively and defensively. And so because they wear down teams consistently, it's really tough to beat this team.
And able to close out games against solid opponents this season. Played the likes of Notre Dame, Maryland, UNC, yeah. Duke.
And I think that a lot of teams try to figure out and understand why, South Carolina, Coach Don Staley, they schedule teams like Morgan State. I think that's a huge thing for Coach Don Staley to recognize teams that are in that HBCU realm that don't get as much linear attention, don't get the TV time, don't get the opportunities to play against some of the better teams out there. She is one of those teams that'll take a chance and play those teams. When she was coaching out at Temple, it was that same thing where she couldn't get a lot of teams to schedule her because it's beneficial for them that they win, but nothing comes out of it for the teams that they're trying to schedule that may be a little bit higher than them. And so with that being said, I think that it's something to be said about playing these types of teams that don't get these opportunities.
Well, Alston banks in the three. It's a great opportunity for Morgan State to play the #1 team in the nation. It's a really difficult matchup, but tremendous exposure. They get that experience that can only help them heading into MEAC play.
Yeah, you just think about that. Like how many people are going to be able to say that they played against the top team in the nation and were able to do something. Maybe something goes well, a play, a possession that works in your favor, and you can use that to catapult you into your conference play. And I think that they will learn from this and learn some experiences in the MEAC that will help translate.
Third foul called on Full Wiley. Alston will head to the line for Coach Davis. First free throw attempt of the season for Alston. She drains it. She's played in all 8 games this season off the bench, now 9 counting tonight, averaging just over 10 minutes per game. Likes to shoot the three. 22 of her 29 shots this season coming into tonight are from behind the arc. I saw her bank in that three-point shot moments ago.
Yeah, and the thing about Alston is that she can continue to be more consistent there. Play defense at the pressure that Coach Davis wants. She gives herself an opportunity to get more minutes on the floor.
Almost a turnover. Instead, it turns into a basket for Sanaya Fagan. Fagan has 6, right at her season average. to find some room, but she gets it to Joelle Johnson. Tough shot, defended by Walker. In the corner, that's Alston. For Wiley there defensively for South Carolina. It's good to see Ponder back out there for Morgan State. Both teams now even in offensive rebounds, 7 apiece. Lady Bear is doing a nice job on the offensive glass.
Yeah, and you know, you raise your level when you play against high-level basketball. And so they're understanding how to compete against South Carolina, especially when it comes to offensive boards.
Oh, Gabby Johnson is swatted by Walker, stays with it. 4 points for Johnson.
It's always great that South Carolina has the ability to block shots, but you also have to make sure that the ball maintains in Gamecock's hands after the shot is blocked.
Ja too strong from the corner. Another look. Gabby Johnson, who stays with it, and gets the follow-up.
And yeah, that's why I like steals more than blocks, even though blocks are great and they create categorical benefits. Steals are automatic possession changers.
How about the deep three from Tessa Johnson, who has 10. She won the three-point contest in high school. Outstanding shooter. Alston off the mark. Offensive rebound from Morgan State.
Yeah, more offensive rebounds mean more possession. Sometimes your offense is your best defense, where you can keep the ball out of South Carolina's hands, who have been able to score the ball consistently.
Gabby Johnson pulled up and drew contact. Let's take another look at this deep three from Tessa Johnson in front of Gabby Johnson.
Oh yeah, Tessa Johnson just recognizing the space. At this point, she's going to continue to earn more minutes on the floor just based on how she's played the game, her mid-range ability, and then also the ability to spread the floor from three.
Coach Staley said she can shoot it, but she's balanced because she always has her head up when she's penetrating, so you don't know whether she's passing or shooting. All sorts of range for the freshman from Minnesota. 88-33 is our score. It's about midway through the fourth quarter. Ja's double teamed, lost the handle, and it's a turnover for South Carolina. And they're 14th.
You're seeing Morgan State try some things really to speed up South Carolina, especially this young core group that they have in here, and really try to see if they can get some turnovers and opportunities.
Speaking of turnovers, there's Tessa Johnson. Turns a steal into 2 points.
Oh yeah, she recognized that the offense was a little bit delayed on the pass, was able to shoot the gap and get the steal and lay.
Three-point shot, no good. The rebound for Ja. Ja will look to push. 3-on-1 here for South Carolina. Not on the same page. They get it inside to Fagan.
A great catch from Fagan, bringing it down to gather herself, get balance, and then go right up for the finish.
She has excellent hands, tremendous ball skills. 8 points now for Fagan. Rumpf. Joelle Johnson in the paint. He's defended by Fagan, who pulls down the rebound. Full Wiley. Around the back, and in!
That is must-see TV. She's over here playing with her food.
She's just a magical player for South Carolina. And Rumpf on the drive. No good. For Wiley Gets it to Johnson for the layup. Pushing closer to 100. They've got 96. Timeout, Morgan State. Teams are undefeated, both playing really good basketball this season, John.
Yes, and it's great to see that for the state of South Carolina men's basketball, but at this point, you know, you want to see these types of rivalries go on, and last year that rivalry went down to the wire, and so it made for good basketball. I hope that it continues.
Fagan with the rebound for the Gamecocks, who continue to push. Full Wiley feeds Johnson.
Yeah, it looks like South Carolina's going to hit that century mark.
Team high 16 points for Tessa Johnson. Fagan with the steal. And here's Ja. And one.
Yeah, Josh showing her athleticism. Ability to hang in the air, draw the foul, still finish.
100 points for South Carolina. They'll look to add to that total. Great pass from Fagan.
Look at that hang time.
Now Fagan with the rebound and the putback. 102 for the Gamecocks. Emily Jones. Rumpf over Fagan. What a shot.
Yeah, Rumpf showed her ability to score in that mid-range area. High percentage there.
You picked the right player to watch from Morgan State. She has 11. That leads the Lady Bears tonight.
And she's not forcing it. She's just taking what the defense is giving her, but also using her attributes to get her to those spots that she likes to get to on the floor.
Full Wiley to Ja. Freshman of freshmen. The future's bright here in Columbia.
Absolutely.
Rumpf has been a bright spot for Morgan State. Really tough shot over the 6'5" Walker. Full Wiley comes down with it for South Carolina. And it's a turnover. 2-on-1 for Morgan State. Fagan gets back.
Yeah, we talked about Rumpf's ability to create turnovers and get steals, and right there she timed Full Wiley's hop step perfectly.
Tessa Johnson, who got the start tonight for the Gamecocks, gets it inside of Walker. No, it's bad to back out. Miscommunication that time between Full Wiley and Walker. Seconds for Emily Jones. Look to get it inside. Butler. Contact. Walker will pick up the foul. Kima Walker got the start tonight at the center position for South Carolina. Began her career at Rutgers, transferred to JUCO level. She was JUCO Player of the Year last season. She's going to play a big part for the Gamecocks, John. Was the backup center to Cardoso, but she got the start tonight.
Yeah, she did, and the coaching staff has been pleased with how she's been practicing and playing extremely hard. And when she is given the minutes, she's doing a little bit more and more as she gets more time and more experience on the floor.
Clock winding down. You guys can just dribble it out. Get one last look at the ball skills of Mylasia Full-Wiley. And a nice hand from the crowd here inside Colonial Life Arena. South